another session with Java with John. I'm John Rayhans, the General Manager here at Ironwood, and my special guest today is Dale Goodwin, the Chairman of the Finance Committee. Dale, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
It's nice to have you here, and you just got through a couple of weeks of informational meetings discussing our master facilities plan, and you really did a great job. I thank you for that. So I'd like to kind of back up a little bit so our homeowners can get to know you a little bit better. How long have you lived here?
We moved in late 2016. We bought the house before that, but we leased it out. We knew we were coming down here, but we leased it out beforehand, and then moved down here in late 2016.
Great. And what made you decide on Iron Oaks?
Well, we became familiar with it because my brother-in-law lives over in Phase 1. And so we were coming down here every few years to visit him, and became familiar with the area. And of the areas here in the Sun Lakes specific vicinity, we really liked the feeling of Oakwood and Ironwood, and decided to buy here.
So tell me, what do you and your wife Sharma like to do here in Iron Oaks?
We're avid golfers. We both play 3-4 times a week, sometimes more, depending upon what we get involved with. We're both involved in the leagues, and also we have tee times with other friends, and so we play a lot of golf. We participate in the trivia on Monday nights and really enjoy that. And other than that, you know, we've met all the people we know through golf and through trivia. I mean, that's how we've met everybody here, as well as our next door neighbors and that type of thing. But it's just a nice, friendly community.
That's great. That's super. So tell us, I know you've been on the Finance Committee now for 2 years.
Close to 2 years.
What prompted you to jump on that committee?
Well, I think I mentioned in one of the presentations that what got my attention was the pickleball courts, and the fact that we went over the number that was projected to be spent on that. That caught my attention because at the end of my career, I was managing a division for a global company. That's all we did was project management. And if we'd have blown a budget like that, there would have been a lot of heads rolling. So that kind of caught my attention. I started paying more and more attention to what was going on in the community. I've been involved in HOAs before. In Colorado, I was on a board of an HOA up there. So I'm familiar with the workings of it, but I also know that it's important for homeowners to get involved if they really want to know what's going on. And that's where I was coming from. And finance is my background, so that just made the most sense to me.
That's great. Well, you've done a terrific job. And I want to take a minute and personally thank you for the job that you have done for the community, both as our finance chair, but also with this master planning effort. When you did the presentation, that was a really big number we popped up there for our community to see. $22 million. That's a lot of money. So when I'm thinking of it, my first thought is, holy cow, we're not going to get this pushed through. But you did some homework, and comparatively, it doesn't seem that expensive.
Well, that's what the Finance Committee thought as well when we first saw that number. It's like, oh boy, you know. But then when you take a look back and look at the fact that we have a little over 4,000 homes, you start slicing and dicing it down to a per home basis, it really becomes manageable, depending upon how you want to do it, depending upon how you want to structure it.
Now, question you probably will be asked, I know I've been asked a few times. Out there, we know inflation is climbing. Is now a good time to do the project?
Well, you know, if you wait for inflation to end, you'll never do a project. Historically, yes, we're in an outlier kind of position right now with inflation. Inflation ebbs and flows, though, over time. And so if we're looking at a 15-year loan for payback on this particular project, inflation's bound to go down during that time period. Rates are bound to go down. So if we lock into a rate that we think is a little high at this point to get it done, we can always refinance at a lower rate at a later time. Construction costs are probably not going to drop. They may level out, and inflation may not be the high rate that it is today, but those things will probably not come down. So it's probably a good time to do it. As good a time as any, let's put it that way.
Right, and you touched upon something, rates, as we're all listening to what Federal Reserve is doing with interest rates now, bound to go up. Is that a big impact to, I think at the number we've been quoting our homeowners is about $25, $26 a month.
It actually was $24.66 to be exact, rounded up 25. I've been asked that question in the past week, what happens when rates go up. So I went back and we took the schedule that we put together, pumped in 5% at a 5% rate instead of the 4.25% that we quoted. That $25 becomes $27. If we go to 6%, which is possible, that number becomes around $30 a month. So yes, it has an impact, but again, you spread it over as many homes as we have. It's a small dollar amount at 25. It goes up, but it doesn't go up a lot of money.
So it's not a significant impact. So if today in round numbers we're talking 25, if the rates jump, maybe as high as 30. So that's not too bad for our homeowners.
Right.
That's great. Now, one of the things is, have we talked to our bank about being well qualified for something like this? Would they lend us the money?
Absolutely we have. You know, we currently have zero debt. And we have a good stream of money coming in through annual assessments, through the amenities. We're a very financially stable HOA in the eyes of the lender. And so there's no hesitation on their part to lend us that kind of money.
Now, speaking along the same lines of getting a loan for a project of this size, I have heard, boy, is this going to encumber my home? Am I going to have to collateralize anything if the bank were to foreclose? What happens in that instance?
You know, first of all, it has no impact on individual homes. The bank that we've been talking to has done this with hundreds of HOAs in the Southwest U.S. First of all, they've never had a default. If that were to occur, it doesn't impact anybody's individual home. It would impact the operation of the HOA. Most likely what would happen is the bank would take over running the HOA. They'd be the ones collecting the money from all these amenities and what have you, and getting their money back in that way. But it wouldn't impact homes directly.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, this is kind of interesting. A few months ago, we had a large push to change a portion of the CC&R, talking about new homeowner transfer fees. It was favorable, but it wasn't favorable enough to pass. We're going to bring this back with the future plan. And it's important for the homeowners to understand why we need to move forward with the CC&R. Can you speak to that?
Well, quite frankly, if we increase the amount of the contribution by new homeowners, it reduces the obligation to existing homeowners. The last time we took a look at it and tried to get it through, there was no purpose stated. It was just, it appeared to homeowners that the HOA was just looking for more money with no stated purpose. We now have a stated purpose. We have a plan. There's a purpose for the money. And quite frankly, it's to reduce the obligation to existing homeowners.
So that would be really helpful to everybody. And this was only for new homeowners, correct?
It is, just new homeowners. And, realtors tell us, there are always naysayers, but most of the realtors tell us that this has really little impact on a buyer's decision to buy the home. So
that's great. Now, in listening to your background in project management, that's come up here in terms of not running over in terms of cost. What ideas or what will we do differently to make sure that if we go forward with a $22 million expansion that we not go over the costs over?
So one of the things that's changed here since the pickleball courts were put in is that we have instituted a project process. There's a policy, there's a step-by-step process that we go through. All the committees that are involved, the boards involved, management's involved, and everybody's looking at it multiple times to make sure that the numbers are right. Additionally, for example, at Grill on the Green, which we're getting ready to kick off this year, we've hired a project manager already. The HOA has already hired somebody who's involved in going out and getting the bids. So that the numbers are accurate, the numbers are something the project manager is going to have to live with and be accountable for. And that's one of the major changes that we've made here within the HOA. If we do the entire project, big $22 million project, will that take one project manager? Will it take a team of project managers? We don't know yet, but that's yet to be determined. It really depends on the timing of all the projects and which ones get approved.
That's great. That would obviously provide some confidence to our homeowners that we can do this effectively, efficiently, on time, on budget, all those good things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have the expertise to do it, nor the willingness to do it at this point in my life. And we don't look to Blue Star to provide that kind of project management for that size project either.
Now lastly, let's fast forward. Hope all this comes to fruition. What do you envision the benefit will be when all this is done?
Well, first and foremost, in my mind, I wouldn't hesitate to take anybody who came to visit us to see a nice new fitness center, or to take them to poolside and enjoy a nice drink sitting out by the pool. You can't do that today. You can take people to the fitness center, but I've been there. I don't partake in the fitness because I have my own stuff at home, but it's not an attractive building. And so, we were kind of in a similar situation 6 years ago when we moved here. Our golf courses were not in great shape either. Blue Star comes in, puts new management in charge of the grounds maintenance on the golf courses. Our golf courses are now some of the best in the country and in the state. My hope is that the same view of our fitness center and a poolside facility once this stuff is done.
That's great, well stated. Well, I want to thank you for taking time with me here on Java with John. Great to see you. And again, Dale, thanks for all your help. You've been a tremendous support of this project. Appreciate all that you've done.
Thank you for the comments. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time on Java with John.